Hey, what's going on, y'all? So today I got a simple video, and it's the dangers of interacting with stupid and evil people. So the first thing I'm gonna do is define what stupid is. Stupid is when you have knowledge to do something which is good, and you ignore or you don't care about the knowledge that you have. And evil is basically anything contrary to the standard of good and righteousness. Now, I'm going to call that God. I'm going to say he's the standard of righteousness, and anything against the known truth of his will is considered evil. Now, with such a general, broad definition of evil, you understand why, basically, why the world is in the state it is in today, and why the agendas and subtle deceptions are so have such an impact, subtly, in a subtle way that most people don't even realize. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is the number one cause of depression is repeated failures, or what most people would define as insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expected a different result. Now, just to deal with that, many people are, I would say, depressed because basically some people, and I hate to say that they're born feeling entitled to a perfect life. Now, even though they're imperfect people doing imperfect things, they still feel entitled to an imperfect life, and this comes from a lack of understanding of reality. It's almost like what leads to personal responsibility and having merit and earning things, of being such a virtuous aspect of human nature that most people need to have in order to avoid all the negative consequences and perils of life. Some people, whether in relationships or the type of people they deal with, or many things, they ignore the known signs of toxic people, of toxic situations, of sound wisdom and counsel given to them, rather being revealed through life experiences or through the counsel of someone wiser than them. And let's talk about what wiser than them is. Someone who has avoided the detrimental aspect or situation that another person finds themselves in, and usually using objective reality to prove this. Some people just refuse. Oh man, the sun is in my face. Must be telling the truth. Some people just refuse, to abandon a provenly bad choice or situation. They just refuse it. In this world, we need to stop expecting the blind to see, the deaf to hear, and the heartless to have a heart or care. And it's interesting because a large issue is that you can do a lot of things with people, but one thing you cannot do is you cannot make a person care about what the truth is, or care about what is right, or even objectively obvious. You can't make people care about it. You can tell them, you can prove it, but you can't make them care. And there's a huge frustration in relationships. I'll talk about the male and female dynamic, about people coming to a situation with a certain virtue, with a certain character, or certain code of ethics, or morality, or righteousness, and it's not being appreciated, or it's used against them. Kindness for weakness. Evil has such a profound effect, because you can be everything that is good and someone can still treat you bad, exploiting that which is good or what you do that is good. Because honestly, people have poor discernment, or they don't vet people properly to see if they can actually value the things that they're willing to give. And I also say the leading cause of death is dealing with stupid people. I mean, how many times are you in a situation or dealing with a person that worries you, or it worries you to death, or causes you to worry about everything they're doing? dealing with somebody who's financially irresponsible puts you in a situation to be a cleanup man, for you to be unproductive with your resources and finances. You're constantly having to overthink because of the person refuses to think. So that makes you always in a state of overthinking, trying to cover for the error. You can't progress because someone's in a constant state of regression or congress. It's funny that, people talk about politics, but I've heard it many times that the opposite of progress is congress. And yet that's what we so-called make our laws, and we get our lawmaking ability from, which explains why there's not much justice in this world if the name of our justice is Congress. Like I said, avoid being the cleanup man. Rather than surrounding yourself with wise and prudent people, if you surround yourself with an evil or a foolish person, you will perpetually be in a state of being a cleanup man, because they don't value the things that make order, civility, and progress and productivity, but instead they're antagonistic to every good thing and every righteous thing that a good person would do. So you're constantly cleaning up behind someone's mess. That will drive you crazy, and it will also devalue you as a person, because what you're doing, knowing that it's good, is not being appreciated. And like I said before, ignorant people, they can be helped with knowledge and understanding. But stupid and evil people, they can't, because they will always reject what is true. And, they will reject what is true for what is known as a lie. Meaning that when somebody lies, they're aware that they're lying. And their whole idea is to try to con or deceive you with a deflection or something that just isn't real, something that doesn't exist. And it causes you to defend something that isn't there. Have anyone ever argued with a stupid person, where they create a scenario that isn't true or doesn't exist, and it detracts from you proving the point that it is true? Now you're defending yourself from a lie or something that doesn't exist. It's very unproductive, and it's a waste of time. For example, evil people, break the known law, hoping to get away. They know what they're doing is wrong, and they break the law hoping to get away, so that they have built a web of corruption and deception that basically creates a false scenario and a path for their escape of justice. Lazy and entitled people are also the same way. Lazy people know that they're not worthy to gain the rewards of productivity and hard work, having a strong work ethic. They know this. And so it puts them in an entitled mindset, to which they feel to benefit off of the hard work and efforts of a very hardworking person, just because they are who they are. It's a huge form of narcissism and arrogance that social media in some aspects does feed into this part of human nature. And just the fact that we live in a society where people don't call out things for what they are. So you can allow someone to live a delusion so strongly until they feel they have the right to force it on other people. These are the same people that reject wise counsel, and they do so to scavenge what they can from confusion. They thrive in confusion and chaos, and this allows them to extort the productive people knowingly, and they become a burden on the system. You can see this in the welfare system or any system of merit, where people actually, you reap what you sow. If you work hard, you reap the benefits of hard work. But now, we've created a system where people can create a false scenario of victimhood and seemingly feel entitled to the work of people who have been responsible and have put in the work. And now it's bankrupting the system. And I know a lot of people will say, well, there's an overarching system that is corrupt, but that does not take away personal responsibility to not only take advantage of what is known, because everybody can know that you get what you work for. That's just a known intrinsic fact. But everybody knows about the system, so you're still responsible for how you play into the known system. You know, and that's what leads to fairness and efficiency. And without any structure or order, you know, or set of values, we cannot build anything within a corrupt system to protect ourselves from the system. And I'll even tell you what Jesus Christ of the Bible said. It said something very profound. Is do not give what is holy to the dogs, or cast your pearls before the swine, lest they turn against you and rend you to pieces. And this is Matthew 7:6. And it makes so much sense, because I even tell people, when you're dealing with somebody who is a non-believer, who does not believe in the biblical God, what sense does it make to give them the word of a God they don't believe in? If you want to prove God to a person, then you prove God from their own understanding, because God is clearly visible from the creation of his own world and from our creation, from our mind, that there's a God. Because, like I said in previous videos, we have a state of morality and a state of inner witness to basically understand certain things in unison. You know, there are certain universal standards that we all know, and that creates a mind which comes from a greater mind. And actually, the Bible does give an imprint of our flawed human nature, where we can help one another to avoid the perils of our nature. And the Bible gives a really good outline. It gives the answers for many things. It's proven prophecies. It's done many things that you can prove to a person who is a non-believer. And that goes into what is sin and evil. You know, most people don't realize evil does not exist to a godless person, because evil is held up to a standard, a universal standard. Like the word sin doesn't relate to an unbeliever, because sin is a transgression of the law of God. If they do not believe in God, then they don't respect or care about the law of such a God. So evil is very subjective to personal things. It's a personal preference. That's why what it may be evil to you may not be evil to another person in the unbelieving realm. So now you're fighting over things that you have no foundation to prove or to force someone else to accept. And so that's why the laws are so, you know, crazy. That's what the legal system is. In the legal system, you can, it's written so vaguely that you can make an innocent person look guilty and a guilty person look innocent. And it's the same thing, that without God, there is no standard to call something evil. It's just that a preference or a set of values or logic that is intrinsic to you may not be intrinsic to them. Like to a murderous thief, you know, their methods to acquire something may be beneficial to them. They may be, you know, putting their life at risk and causing chaos. It's not something that they care about or value. And how can you force a person to value the things that you value without having a higher standard other than your personal preference? So let me speed this up again. Like relationships, let's use this for an example. Relationships led by your low functioning nature, your flesh, and not by the spirit, you know, of which wisdom, character, respect, kindness, understanding, compassion, merit, virtue, and patience, love, all defined by God's commandments, come from. Well, you won't have any basis to restrain the corruption and the darkness of dealing with people, which will lead to confusion, disagreements, chaos, destruction, non-productive behavior, and a lack of order and values, you know, lack of values which comes from just going by attraction and lust alone. See, without, you know, accepting that there's a spiritual virtue to life, well, you can expect respect, character, wisdom, and all the things I listed before. Attraction and lust are just going to produce attraction and lust, and those are selfish. They don't care how, you know, they're very, that doesn't make a person care about justice, about how they treat you or anything like that. It's very insatiable. It's never going to get enough. It doesn't specify or lead to commitment or loyalty to one person. It's just a very desiring aspect of human nature. And I'm going to also say this, the stupidity that we entertain is a gauge for the foolishness in our own hearts and minds. Like, people are not really deceived, because you have to value the very thing that a deceiver is offering for them to be able to deceive you by it. Like, if I don't make riches a high priority in my life over righteousness and character, then someone can deceive me with the prospect of riches to compromise my own personal principles and integrity. So, I can't be led by money to do things that I already know to be wrong. Like nobody can buy me to do something that goes against my own principles, that goes against God. See, and that's why I would say deception is a lousy scapegoat for us not valuing what is good in the first place. And I'm gonna end it on this because it's getting too long. So, ironically, the meaning of life will be defined at the end of it by what and who we live for. If we live for foolish things, then it will be proved that we lived foolishly. A lot of people are going to understand on the day that they're dying, if they're fortunate enough to die in a conscious state, that all the things that they live for have no value or no merit and no worth at the time of their death. And you're going to be faced with a great reality to what happens next. So if the ending of something proves the meaning of it, then we should start now while we're alive to make our life meaningful, not just now, but during and prior to death. People don't want to believe that there is an afterlife, but your consciousness bears witness to there is an afterlife, because that part of you that cares about what happens to you when you die is not an evolved trait. Okay, if you really believe that you're just a functional response of chemicals and matter and material, then there's no care for what to happen once your primary function is done. But you realize your function is just leading to a greater function, and your soul leads you to a creator that created your soul to come to a specific realization. So I'm going to leave it here. So I just wanted to bring this up. Avoid stupid people. Peace.